us a young man who has agreed to describe some of the objective and subjective changes which he has noticed relative to his illness. I wonder if you would tell us the first change you noticed in your behavior when you became ill.
The first change was that I suddenly had this awareness. All these things were coming fast and furious, you know, like a horse is running down a track.
Thoughts?
Thoughts. They were just there, and I had to do something.
And all of these thoughts transformed into verbal behavior?
No, they weren't. Not this time, because I'd had the experience of being in hospitals, maybe. I learned the hard way through experience.
What had you learned?
I had learned that you better keep your mouth shut and try to get help. I didn't know why I went to the doctor.
You were speaking faster and thoughts were coming faster.
Well, I was speaking faster over in the administration hall.
You are a biology teacher?
Yes, I am. A biology teacher should teach biology and stay right in his lab. That's where his business is. The administration can, sure, it has faults, but it can run itself. Only through time or change is able to come, you see.
Did you notice that some of the thoughts you have and some of the verbal behavior was not associated, that is, did not follow logically one upon the other? In other words,
No, I didn't notice this.
You would say things that weren't exactly connected.
Oh, yes. I had a friend that told me last year, he said, I would have known your brother any place, Edgar. He says, because he's just like you. He can talk about music 1 minute, and just in a half a second he's talking about football. He says, I wish I had this ability. And I was depressed, I thought.
Edgar, since you have been sick, have you noticed that the things you would say were not always connected? You jump from one subject to another?
I didn't until this friend pointed it out.
I see.
Now, this was a friend I taught.
Have you noticed that you've been hyperactive?
Well, yes, but you know, if you exercise a little control and relax, as for instance, yesterday I don't think I sweated at all. I usually sweated when I was hyperactive. I'd come in and I'd be blue around the gills, so to speak, and
yes,
my neck would be dirty. Well, now I wash my neck thoroughly. I wash my wrists thoroughly every morning so that I won't get my shirt sleeves dirty, maybe, so I won't get my collar dirty, and I can wear a shirt more than one day, maybe.
Summarizing briefly, then, you've noticed that your speech has come faster, that you've been thinking faster, that sometimes you have said things that were irrelevant and not connected,
yes,
and that you have been moving about somewhat faster since you've been sick.
As is obvious as the way I go up and down the hall.
How have you felt? Good or bad? Blue?
I felt good, but I have known that I should be careful, be diligent, be cautious, be prudent.
Be diligent and cautious of what?
Of other people's. You can do anything you want to, providing you keep it to yourself.
You think some of the behavior you have been exhibiting may have been offensive to others?
Yes, I know it has.
Can you give me an example of that?
Yes, there's a young lady who I think is a paranoid. I say something nice and she says, "Get out of here, you devil." I say something bad and she laughs. I say, "Woo, I'm crazy. I'm glad to know it, though, because I'm going to get cured here." And you know what happens? She gets mad. Anytime I get happy, she's just a split opposite, like sort of the schizoid, the schism, like splitting something apart.
You use psychiatric terminology very well.
Dr. Jekyll, Dr. Hyde. Well, perhaps my dad unknowingly trained me so well that,
what did your father do?
He was a psychiatrist.
I see.
Self-trained, of the old school.
Yes.
The George Washington type, the John Hancock, who lived on that island out there and at 14 had read all of this stuff. I haven't read a thing, I just listened.
John Hancock lived on an island.
Or John Hancock, or one of those greats, lived on the island of Samoa or someplace, and I believe I read in my English book someplace. Now, I say I believe because, you know, to tell you the truth, all these things come now. And you say, I'm trying to stay on the subject here of Hancock. He rings a bell. Perhaps I can look it up and find out whether it was he or Adams or one of them that lived on this island. And at 14, he had read so much that he was ready for being a doctor.
Have you had other reactions similar to the one you're experiencing now?
No, never before. Before it was all, well, how's the football game? You know, I like classical music. Say, are you going downtown, Dad? You know, I think I ought to get out there in the farm and work on that tractor. Just flight of ideas. One, two, three, four. Boom, 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 boom.
You have this now.
Well, I have the thoughts, but I'm trying to learn how to control it.
Back to
All right, get back.
your high school experiences.
Well, now, you see, you asked me when did I first experience this, and I had to tell you that it was the 8th grade, and we can get into that later.
When did you notice the change in your behavior first?
I noticed it first in high school, as I said during our first interview.
And you were under some stress then?
I was certainly under stress.
What stress was this?
I was scared to death that I was going to fail. And I had been this great student.
Did you have any treatment?
No, my father said, son, your brother made a mistake by dropping out of school the middle of his senior year. Maybe I did because he had done it. I was trying to escape.
Did you drop out?
No, I didn't.
Good. How old were you at this time?
I was half a year behind myself when I was in the
How old
12th
were you?
grade. Well, now let's see. I was 5 and a half in the first grade, so 1 and 11 is 12. 5 and a half and 11. This is logical, I think. 5 and a half, 11, 16 and a half. Is that right?
You were about 16.
About 16 and a half. No, yeah, 16 and a half or 17.
I see.
Somewhere along
And
there.
then you had your second reaction when?
I had my second reaction when I graduated from high school.
You have had a reaction when your thoughts were moving fast, you were moving fast?
Oh, no, I've had them time and time again ever since the time I originally told you.
And then they have regressed spontaneously?
They have what?
You've gotten over them spontaneously?
I thought you started to say some funny word there. Yes, I've gotten over them spontaneously.
I see.
Spontaneously.
This is the longest one you've had, then?
What? This right now?
Yeah.
I think this is the real me, to tell you the truth. Now, this is just between you and me and these television cameras around here. I think this is the real me that I'm trying to learn how to live with. You know what my aunt read the other day? You may not believe this, but she told me that it is thought now that the superego is the rule rather than the exception, and that normal, unfrustrated people are ones that are able to use this. Now, I don't know. This is only opinion, understand, because I'm sick. You're the doctor. What do you think?
Let's go back to your
I'll throw it back.
mother's...
See, I'm reversing to you.
Yes, I've noticed that.
Well, I don't mean to. Now, you tell me to stop reversing and I will.
Let's go back to your mother's side of the family. You mentioned that your mother had this illness. Was there anyone else on her side of the family?
Yes. She had a brother who was about 10 years or so younger than her, who was very upset. One afternoon he went to the porch and was talking to my grandpa. And my grandpa was one that liked to get his... Are we about to lose time now?
Go ahead.
This grandpa was one that liked to get all his tensions out on this boy.
Well, what did the boy do?
The boy said he was having an argument, and the grandpa would just answer him back.
Yes.
Argumentative.
Yes.
He forgot what he tried to teach in the Bible, you know,
Yes.
like...
What did
What did the uncle do?
your uncle do? Yes.
The uncle told him, says, if you don't quit talking like that, Dad, I'm going to go in there and get the pistol and shoot you. And you know what the dad said? He said, well, go ahead and get it, son. And he did, and he killed the grandfather and killed himself.
I see.
And that's it.
What have you recall now for this episode you had? You recall how you were feeling and behaving and some of the thoughts you were having?
Yes, sir. I believe it actually began back in August.
Of this year?
Of this year.
Yes.
I believe I was actually... I realized it perhaps subconsciously. I don't mean that I really realized. I knew something was wrong.
Yes. How did you know something was wrong?
Well, I started losing weight. I was able to concentrate on getting back down to the weight I was when I was in college.
Yes.
Only when I got down to my original college weight, I wasn't satisfied, and I was able to do without eating, without any noticeable discomfort. And I got interested in just about everything that was on the campus. I mean, organizations, improvement of the academic areas, adding new courses, better student-faculty relationships. I was just doing too much, really.
You were trying to do too much?
Trying to do too much.
Was your appetite good at this time? You said you'd lost some weight.
Well, I had a good appetite, but I forced to diet on myself. I died on myself.
You were moving around a good bit, too, weren't you?
Yes, sir. I was going just lickety-split.
Lickety-split.
Yes.
What kind of thoughts were you having about other people?
I thought of other people as inferior to me. Tell you the truth about it. Yes.
You felt euphoric?
I felt euphoric. I felt that I was so more or less sitting on top of the world, and
Nobody could touch you.
nobody could touch me. There you
That's
go.
it. You did have these spells of crying, though.
Yes.
Why were you crying? Do you remember?
I don't quite remember, Dr. Irwin. I remember crying. I remember I had some remorseful feelings about my mother. I think I was thinking perhaps we could have yielded a little bit more to my mother's desire.